Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. You know what it is. All right, you guys. I debated long and hard. Was I going to speak on this situation? But I guess I'm going to speak on it. I'm going to give my one and only opinion on this topic. And then I'm going to move on. Because it's just other topics that I'm about to move on to. I'm going to make it very clear. But I'm going to say what I need to say before I move on. And as I said before, I'm going to keep it 100. As far as what I've seen, I've been covering boxing for over a year. As far as actually physically being at boxing events, I've covered like maybe 14, 15 fights, you know, and I've learned a lot. I've made connections, and at the end of the day, you know, I always seek out information, but I want to, you know, feed it to you guys with limitations, because it's just certain things, you know, it's just certain things that you can't say on camera, and there's certain things you can say on camera, because at the end of the day, you do got to earn the trust of these fighters, promoters, whatever, managers. If they see you around, you got to be cool. So you got to keep it 100. But I want y'all to understand something, and this is just from my heart. Like I've always told you guys, have an open mind when it comes to the boxing shit. But let me get to this thing with Errol, Spence, and Tim Bradley. And to a certain degree, I'm shaking my head, and I think it's just sad on both ends. At the end of the day, we still back at square one. No indication on big fights happening or fights that we want to see happening. Now, some news that came out about Floyd and Dana White possibly. I kind of had a hint that Floyd is going to help Dana White get into boxing. I kind of saw that coming, and that looked like what is on the horizon, that Dana White may actually be on the horizon. You could possibly have the PBC forming some kind of partnership with Ultimate Fighting. You might have Ultimate Boxing Championships, where Floyd and Dana White may tally up a bunch of fighters and create their own type of boxing league. Whether it be good or bad, well, that remains to be seen. As far as Floyd coming back, coming back in the ring to fight once again, like I said before, I'm going to give Floyd as little coverage as possible, because once again, Floyd just refused to give the limelight to anybody else. I wish he would. I wish he wouldn't be so selfish at times, but Floyd gonna always be Floyd. Floyd is going to always look out for Floyd. Number one. Numero uno, Floyd. But as you guys know, I was in attendance. I was at the fight. I was covering the fight. I went to New York. Everybody knows that. Went to New York to cover the fight. Had a, real good time. Enjoyed New York. I apologize to some of my subs. I didn't get to make it out to Brooklyn. I didn't get to make it to Queens. But if Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez happens at the Garden, then I'll be there. I'll come back to New York. So, and this time I'll try to do a little more sightseeing, but for the most part, it was cool. Real good time in New York. Like I said, I didn't get to go to Times Square or none of that. But, I'll go one of these days. But anyway. Tim Bradley had heard the comments made by, Errol Spence heard the comments that was made by Tim Bradley about, let's just stop the other side of the street and let's just make these fights happen. I'm in agreement with that. I'm just past the point of this promotional police shit. I'm just past it, because all these promotional companies on all the ends did shit they didn't have no business doing. At the end of the day, I remember back in the day when Top Rank was basically you know, basically doing the self-promoting within, and they didn't want to work with outside companies. And I called them out for that. You know, on several occasions, I called them out for that because I didn't like it. Because they were robbing us of fights. Same thing with Golden Boy. You have this circle of freeze outs. Now all of a sudden, PBC got a certain amount of welterweight. They don't want to work with the other side. So it's sort of like a circle. Golden Boy pretty much don't got nobody of relevance except Canelo. And it's to the point with Canelo where now Canelo fights somebody, you don't even know if his fights are legit, because based off what happened with Sergey Kovalov, a lot of people thought that fight was fixed. I stand by what I said. I didn't think that fight was legit. But anyway, getting back to the Tim Bradley, Errol Spence situation. Errol Spence took exception to some of the words of Tim Bradley, and I guess on one of his social media accounts, he called him a coon. Now, has Tim Bradley on certain occasions been guilty of cooning? In my eyes, yeah, he has been. But this particular situation, was he cooning? I don't know about that, because I asked this question, and this is where people get this misconstrued. Last time I checked, Bud was black. And it wasn't like he was insinuating that Errol Spence was ducking, you know, non-black fighters. This is a black fighter. Now, all of a sudden, since Saturday, now you got people like basically who was looking for a way to criticize Bud and attack Bud because it don't have nothing to do. It don't have nothing to do with his boxing skills. It's personal. So I'm just keeping it 100. I've said this on several occasions. Some of the criticism of Bud is more personal than it is his actual skill set. This is one of these situations where certain people was waiting for the opportunity to basically come down on Bud. And at the end of the day, it's, hey, as I said before, every fighter have a moment where they run into an opponent who they either underestimate or is better than we thought he was. At least at that moment. Everybody got it. Here's the thing. Mike Tyson gonna be forever known for losing to Buster Douglas. But does that take away the fact Mike Tyson still went on to become a Hall of Fame fighter? He regained the belts back. Now he didn't get the rematch with Buster Douglas. And here's the thing with Buster Douglas. Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas. Bud finished the Mean Machine. And people is overlooking that. So it just comes down to what you looking at or what happens. There is some fighters that live up for the moment. Because you don't hear people trying to discredit Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali got dropped by Chuck Wagner, which sort of like inspired the Rocky movie from what I was told. But did Muhammad Ali get up and win the fight? That dude, Chuck Wagner, was a nobody, quote unquote. And here's the thing. There ain't no such thing as a undefeated one-loss gatekeeper. That don't make no kind of sense. And you sound like an ignoramus when you say somebody is a gatekeeper and they only got one loss and was undefeated. A gatekeeper is a dude that got at least 3, 4, 5 losses. So that doesn't make sense when you say somebody is a gatekeeper and they was undefeated. So it is what it is. So it is what it is. So I'm just keeping it 100 about that. But was coon the correct word to use in this particular situation with Tim Bradley? No. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. that wasn't the exact words. He could have said something like, man, F you, or whatever the case may be, but I don't think he was cooning in particular for that particular situation. You have to understand, Tim Bradley and Bud are friends. So he gonna stand up for Bud. And I think that's all he was doing. And then at the end of the day, he got a job to do. People got to understand, he worked for Top Rank. Now, here's the thing that people need to remember. Where they going to say, well, you know, Tim Bradley was promoted by Top Rank. So, and that's why he taking up for him. Look, Andre Ward never fought for Top Rank. He was never a Top Rank fighter, but he ended up getting the job with Top Rank. He was doing HBO fights, but then he, you know, he got hired by Top Rank. Once again, you know, other people could have offered Andre Ward a job when he retired. That's what I'm saying. Why didn't Andre Ward get offered a job with, which I think Andre Ward would have been great for the PBC, but we all know who probably had a hand in making sure Andre Ward did get a job with the PBC. I told you I'm gonna continue to call it right down the middle. I'm not worried about nobody. So I don't have a problem with what Tim Bradley said concerning at least this particular point concerning Bud Crawford. You have to understand, he works for them. You know, I done came to realize a lot of people try to fake like they leaders on here and shit, but they really ain't leaders. These dudes, and some of these dudes on here that try to present themselves as leaders, is the type of motherfucker that'll lead you into a straight ambush. And they'll get you taken out. There's this old saying, sometimes you have to infiltrate within. One of the biggest reasons on why we were able to, our community, to get infiltrated, why you had a dude that basically sold Fred Hampton out. Fred Hampton, excuse me, the brother, the dude that used to be with the Black Panthers. Why you had that situation with brother Fred is because he got sold out by his own, set up by his own, because this person infiltrated within. Sometimes, you guys, when people see you coming, they're able to prepare for you. When you sit up barking and talking loud, you know, like James Brown made a song saying you talking loud but you ain't saying nothing. You have to understand, when people see you coming, know you coming, and you telling people you coming, guess what? They prepare for you. They get ready. They set up their roadblocks. They set up their stands. They prepare for you, and they able to counter you. So that's the thing. Sometimes you can't always tell people you coming. Sometimes it's best to have somebody in there working within, so they can gather up information and tell you guys how to prepare for them and how to fix their wagons. So like I said before, some of these people on here that's pretending to be leaders and all that shit and acting like they're a leader and love tooting their own horn, they ain't meant to lead. They ain't meant to lead, they ain't qualified to lead, and they shouldn't lead. Because they don't have the leadership qualities. Okay? A lot of these dudes think they Napoleon, or think they, you know, think they Napoleon, think they Shaka Zulu, think they them type of dudes, but at the end of the day, they more like Stevie Wonder, the blind leading the blind. So just watch out for that. I'm not happy with this situation that's going on between the PBC and Top Rank and Matchroom, where we can get this fight, but we may not be able to get that fight, because we don't want this particular dude to get hold of certain belts or have this type of power. Now boxing then came from came from, it went from who's the best to more about a power struggle. And like I said, the thing is, there's only one Floyd Mayweather, but now you got everybody thinking they Floyd Mayweather. And then you have complete bias from certain people. I'm not with that, man. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna make this very clear. It's just certain people that it's just certain people, like I said, you just can't follow them. You just can't follow them because they're not leaders. There's a difference between being a leader and an instigator. You know, it is a big difference from being a leader to being an ambassador of chaos and causing chaos. Like I said before, you guys, if anybody know me, you should be able to trust that I'll make the right decision and that I know what I'm doing. But I don't like the situation that has went on with Errol Spence and Tim Bradley. I'm not happy with the situation at all. Because at the end of the day, everybody is losing that care about boxing. Because how much longer do boxing think is going to survive when you got fans clamoring for certain fights and we can't get certain fights because of all the finger pointing? Well, it's this dude's fault. It's that dude's fault. It's this promotional company's fault. Oh, it's the network's fault. How much longer do you think diehard boxing fans is gonna want to hear that foolishness before they say, you know what, I'm done with boxing? And I think the signs are showing that boxing is going to die out once again if fights don't start getting made. It don't make no sense that these promotional companies and fighters can't sit down and try to find a way to where everybody involved can make money. So like I said, I'm not sitting upside with nobody. Cause like I said, this motherfuckers on here that couldn't lead me into shit. And like I said, they'll lead your ass straight into an ambush. Once again, I told you, watch out for motherfuckers that got agendas, that push their own agendas, that try to use other people to push their agenda and try to act like they speak for a whole unit of people. So I'm gonna make this very clear, and I'm gonna end this video. Tal Bennett speaks for himself. Okay? Every video that I make is coming from my mouth. Nobody coaches me to saying these videos, and that's pretty much it. So, like I said, watch out for that shit, man. I'm out.